So a lot of people have been asking how to make their WoW interface look clean like mine, and you can use this tutorial for pretty much any version of WoW. You just got to figure out which version you're playing on, go to your search engine, and then we're going to be looking for two add-ons, XPearl and Dominoes with that version. The first result I got looks pretty legit. On the right side over here, we can download that. And then you got to figure out where your WoW interface folder is. For the server I just did a video on, Project Ebenhold, we go to the top right and it shows us where the game's installed. We're going to copy that directory and then we're going to open the File Explorer and then paste that directory up here. In that directory, we find the interface folder, then we go to add-ons, and then we're going to go back up to the top of the File Explorer and copy all this. And then we're going to go to the add-on you just downloaded, which is going to be in your download folder, right click it and go down to extract all. And then we're going to control V the add-ons directory that we just found and hit extract. Once you've done that for both XPearl and Dominoes, we're going to go down here to the bottom left of our character selection area, click add-ons and just make sure everything's enabled, except I guess raid monitor does not need to be enabled. I don't know, it's just disabled by default, I guess. And then when you first log in, your interface is going to look like this. It's going to be quite a mess. We'll close out of this thing and do /dom, configure bars. And then we're first going to grab the XP bar, bring the width way down, put the height up a little bit. Okay, not that much. Let's bring it back up a little bit and then drag it down here first, then lower the width and just bring it over here. Just set it there. Right click the bags, one bag, and don't show keyring actually, because you don't need the keyring. Bring the bag down here, make it a little bit bigger so it aligns with the menu, and then make the XP bar a little bit wider. Just make it so it aligns with the bag, which is kind of hard to see because the starting zone is very blue or purple. Just move over a little bit, and I don't know. It's hard to get it to line up exactly. Could actually just increase the scale a bit. Actually, that's perfect. Next, we're going to start dragging some of these bars over and then middle mouse click them to disable them because we don't need all these bars. One thing I do like doing sometimes is I'll use like 10, 9, and 8 because certain classes will switch these bars automatically when you change stances. They'll do that for 1, 2, and 3. So generally, I actually like using 10, 9, and 8. In fact, I'm going to do that for this tutorial because, yeah, that's something I'll usually do anyways. Separate these bars a little bit because they are currently locked together. And there we go. Put them about in the middle there. I've done this like probably 20 times, but I always kind of forget. I'm not sure the exact places that I'm going to want to put this stuff. I'm going to be adjusting it as I'm playing. So like the exact positions, I don't have, a diagram grid down, where I want to put everything exactly. The class bar is really not important. I can just disable that. Then vehicle bar, whenever you enter a vehicle, certain versions of WoW, you never really enter vehicles. You can just put that wherever. I mean, put it near the bag bar, who cares? Alrighty, so our action bars are in an okay spot. We'll now type /dom again. And then in the middle, there's a bind keys button, and we can now do our key bindings. So I move with WASD. So I will be doing QER and then like Shift QER down here, just to make it easier to remember. When you're first learning your bindings, it's better to make things simple. And then I'll also use like Z, X, C, V, and then Shift Z, X, C, V, and then like 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. I mean, everyone has their own preferences, but this is just like a very basic idea of how to bind stuff. All right, next we'll type /XPearl. This is where things get a little bit more complicated. So I'm going to click on myself so it shows the target and the target of target. I'm going to drag those down, drag everything down to the center. And I would actually like to have something on my bars right now. And I would actually like to have something on my bars right now so I can get more of an idea on where to put this stuff. We got to go XPearl again. And then we're going to just move these right above the bars, essentially, so that we can see our health and we can see our cooldowns all in the same area. I don't know how people play WoW with their health in the top left corner of the screen and their abilities at the bottom. I don't know how Blizzard hasn't just made this like the default UI. again, it just shows that they don't actually play their own game, because I've had this UI since like season 3, I think. Back when I started taking PvP seriously, I don't know how people don't have this UI set up the way it is. My bars also might have looked slightly different to yours, and I had to reset to default to make it look like what you're looking at right now. I think this should be about what you're looking at, minus the Death Knight bar thingy here, if you're not playing Death Knight. We're going to open back up XPearl, and then we're going to change the bar texture to solid, because I just think that looks better. And then we're going to change status highlighting to be off. And then we can change the target frame scale as well to make it look, change it up to 90 actually, I think is the same size. Yeah, that looks pretty good. A few other settings here are highlight debuffs. I don't think we want that. Selection highlight, I don't think that's good. And one thing I always remove is player buffs. So we'll put all your buffs back up here in the top right, like is in standard WoW, because I don't feel like these are really necessary to be in the middle of your screen. The goal is to declutter the middle of your screen essentially. But up here in the top left is the pet. We'll bring that down here and then remove the pet's target, then pet buffs and pet debuffs. And now for the target. So we do want to see our target's buffs to see if they're, divine shielding or something. And we do want to see their debuffs, but debuff size does not need to be super large. And we can also make it so we only see our debuffs on the target. This is important when you're raiding and you don't want to see 30 debuffs on the boss. You only want to see yours. So you know when to recast your stuff. And the rest of the stuff you can kind of mess around with. I do like the elite graphic. And then with party, generally I like to just remove all the party buffs and debuffs. The only other setting that's pretty important, I think, to change is this aggro warning thing. Just disable it. It's annoying.